What is up, guys? It's me, your boy Kwis, and in today's video, I'm sure you're already aware of the ongoing EU discussion that has been happening recently around Tekken. I love a good discussion. I love a good debate, so I don't see anything wrong going on here. The main man made a response video. I watched the video. I will not be making a response directly to the video because I feel like it's kind of pointless because he left out a few things in the video. Like he left out a few things that he said, and I think by leaving out some of the things that he said, it makes me come off as a lot more irrational. And you can kind of see that in like the way in the reception to me in the comment section. Like he left out things where he said like EU is learn fundamental skill, weaken fundamental skill, bunga aggressive, all about attacking and stuff like that. I think by leaving that stuff out and then just having my response raw from there, I think it changes the way you perceive the argument, I think. So I won't be touching too much on the video. If people have been mentioning, you know, put us on the Wave Dash podcast, have a debate and stuff like that, I wouldn't be averse to it at all. I think that'd be a good idea. So if he's down, I don't see why not. There are only a few points from the video I do want to touch. The first is he made a very good point in that because my point is that the top American players are better than top EU players, right? But from the mid-level down, EU is better. But the main man's point, he made a point that like the top players, these best players in the world, they can't be made in a vacuum. A lot of the time they must be playing against strong players to be on that level themselves. I think that's a very good point. I think there is an exception to that. I think that is the rule that you can't be made in the vacuum. And I think an exception to that rule is Book. And a lot of people did bring up Book in the comments, like, you know, Book's best in Thailand, Book, blah, blah, blah. But I think Book is the exception to the rule, and that doesn't negate the rule itself, right? But some people mention the comment stuff as well, like the top players that these guys are also playing are just the top 5 American players, right? These guys are basically playing in tournaments all the time type thing, right? Another thing he mentioned, and it's the things that he said that I had a real problem with, was when he said that, so Jimmy and SpeedKicks, when they came over and said like that mid-level of EU is better than America, he said that I think they were just being polite. And I don't know, that's a point I just like, I feel like that's just so, I don't know. I mean, just, I take the words at face value because I feel like there's no reason to just randomly throw that out there. Like, I don't know. I have nothing to, I just feel like that's such a silly thing to say, like, you know, he was just being polite. Like, there's no reason to say these types of things, especially with Jimmy. That guy's blunt as fuck, right? He's the I just play normal Tekken guy. Like, he's I don't see that, but that's his interpretation. That's fine. And I think it's just something that just comes from his perception, right? So what I want to do in this video is, obviously I'm not going to be responding to the video itself. I want to take a look at, there are a few things in the comments that I wanted to pull out, and basically look at those in depth and just kind of, I guess, explain my reasonings for certain things and why certain things were said about certain this and blah 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 and whatever, right? So let's just get into that. Initially I was just going to do like a video just going like through the comments in full and just being like, yeah, talk about this, blah blah blah, but there were just so many mean comments. like people were just going in on me for no reason. So I was just like, you know what, let me save us all the heartache and just focus on a few key points here, because I think by leaving out certain things that he did, it kind of sways the opinion, and my whole point is just talking about the public perception more than anything. So I think it's important that I sort of just help people understand where I was coming from with certain things. So here's the first point I really want to bring up to about here. Kwis has the logic all over the place. He brings up random victories as evidence of what? Clear evidence of EU better than US? No offense to EU, but EU is not superior in Tekken to the US, cut and dry. It's not a knock against EU, simply that Tekken scene is small when compared to US. Then he brings up COVID as a hindrance to EU, showing superiority over the US. What about all those non-COVID years? I didn't see much top-level EU presence then in tournaments. So we talk about the first half of that. So the first half and second half have different answers. For the first half, a point brought up by the main man was that EU players So he said something, and I don't think I included it in my video, and that was a mistake. I should have done that, but I'll just include it here now.
EU does not have players, in my opinion, to compete with Anakin, Lil Majin, Joey Fury, Cuddlecore. Did I say Anakin? Anakin, Mr. Nap, Joey Fury, Speed Kicks, Cuddlecore, Incognito, Way Gamble. Honestly, you can... Shadow is super strong. Oh, Fighting GM, super strong. Run It Black, PogChop is really strong.
So in his original, when he was in the original stream, he mentioned like a bunch of just US players that EU can't compete with, right? I believe that was the word he used. They can't compete with. And I think it's important to address that is because the reason I brought up these random victories is evidence that EU can compete, right? The initial claim that was laid out was just that EU can't compete. So these victories that I have supposedly picked out are not evidence that EU is better, that EU, you know, is the best region, but it's evidence that EU can compete. And I think it's important to bring that up, and that's why I did that. It's not me. I think I said in the video as well, I'm not saying that EU is better, but people don't like to listen. You guys know this by now. It was literally just me saying, listen, EU can compete. Put respect on the region. I think that was the whole point of the video. Just put respect on the region. I think I said that at one point. But like I said, people don't like to listen. Anyway. And the second half, when he says, what about all those non-COVID years? I didn't see much top-level EU presence then in tournaments. I don't know what he's talking about there, right? 2019 was the only year there was only one EU representative in the Tekken World Tour finals. And even if you look at the leaderboard, there were 5 players, I believe, that were very close to that top 30. I know for definite you had Asim, Kane, Kuiper, and Sephi Black, and I think Joe Pelix as well, that were all relatively close to qualifying, right? So it's not like, you know, we were just completely out of the equation. But if you look at the 2018 and 2017 Tekken World Tour finals, there were at least 4 representatives both years. I guess this guy just isn't watching these tournaments. I think that's the takeaway here. But yeah, there was very clearly at the highest level EU representation. So I'm confused. This is kind of the whole point I'm making here, right? Like, a lot of people are saying, EU don't perform well, I haven't seen EU win, but it's like you're just not watching very clearly. You know, Tekken World Tour 2018 and 2017, there was EU representation. Look at EU Masters events, there are EU players in the top 8. It's just kind of just that simple. And then another point to bring up here, so this guy said K-Wish logic, Olympic Lyon beat Manchester City, Manchester City beat Real Madrid, therefore Olympic Lyon is better than Real Madrid. Yeah, no, that's not the logic that I am stating here. I've also said verbatim before that Tekken is not a game where A beat B and B beat C, therefore A is better than C. And my point here is not that just because someone beats someone, they are better than someone. And I think I made that in the point just before. My point here is that we just can compete and we're not as bad as you think we are. That's all. And this was another, so there was another comment here that I was going to actually, I was actually about to do a response for here as well, but it seems that someone has actually done the job for me. Shout out to Jamie Long 123. So we'll just take a look at this comment and then look at the response to it, and I don't really have to say much more. This is funny. The more you listen, K-Wish goes back and forth with the same arguments. Damn, he first agrees that NA is better than EU. He first agrees that NA is better, then says EU is equal or better. I don't get it. Then shows a match where EU won once against the Korean. That says nothing. A game? Damn. I don't care about the subject. It's just that I'm fascinated by his passive-aggressive debate with no consistent arguments. If you watch the man's first video about this, he says NA is better than EU. Never said EU is trash, so I think they both agree. What is the debate? Why did he make the video? Yeah, whatever. We'll look at Jamie Long's response because this basically just explains everything. No, the main man completely changed what he said in this video, and people like you are just following what he says blindly. He casually left out the bit where he flat out said EU players are bad compared to EUS. Also, EU players don't have, did I say EUS? US. Also, EU players don't have good fundamentals. and EU playstyle is all about attacking using characters with built-in defense. In this video, he doesn't respond to any of those comments he made and instead changes to, well, EU is a 9 and US is a 9.5. Yeah, that's basically it. And also it was one of the things why I wanted to do this video, just to see how by leaving out things that he said and I said, how it completely changes the perception of the whole argument. I think it's also important that I also bring up points that kind of get what I was saying, right? Because I think a lot of people just kind of missed the point. And some people got it, some people didn't. But here we have someone who kind of just gets it, right? I agree with both guys here on different points here. However, I do think the main man is somewhat avoiding one of K-Wiss's main points here. So one of the top 5, top 10 US players stopped by any US tourney, they're pretty much guaranteed to win. Whereas for EU events, you can't really say the same for the for the EU top 10, because everyone in that top 50-ish or so level is more dangerous than in the States. And that top 20-ish USA level, Changi Cuddlecore for example, is going to struggle against the top 50-ish level in the EU in a way that wouldn't happen against the USA top 50. So yes, the US top of the top like Anakin, Margin, Naps, etc. might be 9.5 compared to EU of the top like Kane, Fergus, Superhuman being a 9.0 as the main man foot. The general competitive player basis of each region switches things around. That's kind of one of the biggest points that I made in the video, right? It's like EU is such a competitive region. I guess the main man did kind of not really say much about that point, not that he had to. I think it's just nice to see someone actually gets what I'm talking about and understands, you know, someone finally gets me. I like that. I think one of the last points I kind of want to cover here, I feel like there was no direction to this video at all. I just kind of did what I did. But the last point I kind of want to cover here is this really stupid one. There was NYC versus London. NYC won. So I think at a top level US is better. There's also a lot of good US players that are known, but same could be said for EU. So why this point is really dumb is the London versus New York battle. I don't know if you guys saw it. Was a match that happened between 5 players in London and 5 New York players. And like, first of all, both teams were missing at least like 3, we'll say, of their best players. We were missing Kane, Asim, and Chicken Maru, and I know New York were missing at least Joey and Fab and someone else I can't remember. Was also played online, London to New York. Like that is evidence of nothing. Like, I know a lot of people are saying like me showing wins, blah blah blah, that was evidence, anecdotal evidence. It's like, at least that was offline tournament long set, blah blah blah, right? That was literally online 2 to 3 bar. I only had one good connection that to write home about, and that was against Spirogin. Nashi wasn't too bad when I played him. Bloodhawk also wasn't too bad, but it was like, I say it wasn't too bad, it was still bad connection. The only connection that I could say was decent was Spirogin. Everything, it was just bad. I don't think, I mean, am I wrong? Does that prove something that New York won that? Does it prove something? I hope not. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about all of this. Just, I feel like the perception is just a little warped, and hopefully I've done a job to dispel some of the things that was said here and there. Like, the point isn't saying EU is better. The point here is I just want people to know, like, listen, we're good. We may not be the best, but we can at least compete, and that was the whole point of the video in the first place. So main man, if you want to debate, Aria versus Salami wave dash set up, I genuinely have no problems. If not, we can leave this there. You guys let me know if you want me to do more comment style video. There have been times I've been meaning to like do videos just going through my comment section and seeing some of the dumb things people have said from time to time. If you guys do want to see that, let me know. And I think that's going to be all from me on this one. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, give me all your money. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.